Welcome to Cinemania. I'm your host, Brandon Sean Ford. Alongside me are my co-hosts for this quarantine, another quarantine edition of Cinemania is
Adam Cheek.
Roberts. Oh. Shut up, Adam. Landon Roberts.
Adam Cheek. Landon kind of already introduced me.
And Sam Goodrich.
And this is a show where we discuss all things movies and everything. Normally we do it in a studio together, but COVID-19 has ruined our lives. So now we're doing it from Zoom. So this week we will be discussing some stuff like what we've watched and everything in the past week since the last show. Also, we'll be talking about my recommendation for this week, the Muppets, and then we'll be figuring out what Sam's pick is as well for this week's required viewing.
We'll all figure out at the same time.
Yes. Everything at the same time. Yeah, we're all going to be saying the same thing. We're going to start off talking about what we kind of watched this week.
Actually, what we're going to start off by talking about is last week our episode did not go up because Chris truly messed up the recording while editing it and lost the entire file. So we'll just do a brief run through of Stop Making Sense, and we'll do like a little synopsis of the Amazon Prime South by Southwest Film Festival. We won't go in depth with any of them, but we'll just say like what we watched, if we liked it or we didn't like it, kind of thing. What did you guys think of Stop Making Sense?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, it's a musical masterpiece. It's one of the most fun and energetic films ever made. It's great lighting, great music, great cinematography. It turned me on to Genius of Love by the Tom Tom Club, which I'm still listening to.
Turned you on?
Turned me on, dude. I went insane when I did cocaine, all right? Stay off. It's an incredible film. It's just, it's a very special movie. As we talked about last week, you can't not feel happy while watching it. It's truly a special film that still holds up almost 30 years later. I guess at this point, over 30 years later.
Yeah, it's incredibly immersive. David Byrne has an incredible stage presence. Like you said, Sam, it's fun. It's energetic. But I know I said this in the last episode and when we were talking about it after we watched it, there wasn't one song during the initial viewing of it where like one part of my body, my hand, my head, my foot, whatever, wasn't moving like to the beat of the song. And it was the same way when I rewatched it 2 days later because I could not get the movie out of my head like at all.
Same here.
I still haven't.
Yeah, I think that's the most magical part of the movie is if you go back and just like listen to like the live soundtrack or just listen to any song from the Talking Heads that is in the film, you like vividly like can imagine or remember what happened on screen.
Yeah.
You might not think you'll be able to, but as soon as you hear like a certain note or a certain like lyric, you're just like, oh shit, this is when David Byrne rose up from the grave and got directly into the camera kind of thing. What do you think, Brandon?
I loved it. I mentioned it like last week, but I'd never really listened to any Talking Head song other than Once in a Lifetime. So watching this is like it being immersed in like a whole different world about like with a whole new like musician and a whole new band. And like I was really surprised by it because like I was expecting it to be like a regular concert film, but it told a really interesting story. It had like really great characters. David Byrne in the film, he's a character, and he tells a story with his movements, with the songs. But he like runs on stage, and it's so unique in its presentation, and it's so I think someone else said, but so immersive. And really puts you in the place of like somebody watching a Talking Head telling the story on like this big stage that's like kind of like theater-esque. Like it's kind of like you're watching a play. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an incredible film. I think it's a perfect film. I was surprised by how much I was into it though. Like I thought I'd like it, but I was really, really, really into it from like start to finish.
Yeah, I hadn't listened to the Talking Heads really at all. Like I had heard Once in a Lifetime and Burning Down the House prior to watching the movie, but really nothing beyond that. So getting exposed to the rest of their music was pretty great.
So yeah, what do you guys give it on Letterboxd?
5 out of 5.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars? 5 stars. And then last week we also talked about the Amazon Prime South by Southwest Film Festival. Me and Sam, I watched a short film and a documentary from it. And Sam watched. What'd you watch?
I watched one fiction film, one documentary movie, one of the documentary shows, and then coming up for this week, I watched another fiction film, which out of all of them, only one thing. Okay, only two things were really good, and one thing was like meh, and one was kind of bad. So there weren't any big standouts, but it was all. Overall, I'm happy it happened, and I'm happy it was available. I'm happy these films got out there and were able to be seen. Because if they didn't work for me, I'm pretty sure some of them would work for a lot of people.
Yeah, like I said, I watched. What was the one that
The documentary.
Yeah, I forget what the documentary is.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
It's I love Vivian. My Darling Vivian.
Yeah,
My Darling Vivian was great. It was a great document. It wasn't great. It was okay. The first half is great. Second half is a drag. It's just the story about Vivian Carter, Vivian Cash. It's about Vivian Cash, Johnny Cash's first wife. And like I said, the first half and look into Vivian Cash. And then in the second half, it kind of like loses its way because they only have 4 interview subjects throughout the entire documentary. And they only show like one light of Vivian, and it's just the light of her being a mom is all it really boils down to. So yeah, that documentary was pretty good. I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. Like I said, it's just the second half of the movie for me is incredibly boring. And what were the 2 that the others that you watched, Sam?
So I watched the first episode of Cursed Films, which is a documentary series that's on Shudder, but they put the first 2 episodes on for the festival. That was really well done. It did a good job of not just exploring horror film productions that were said to be cursed because bad things happen, but also looking at like why we like consider things to be cursed and going into more deeper topics beyond just the films, which I thought was really, really good. I watched, I'm just checking this again. I watched Gunpowder Heart, which was one of the fiction films I watched, a Guatemalan film about a lesbian couple who were victims of sexual assault. Really well done, a really good debut feature from this director. I'm 90% sure it's her first film. She has a lot of promise. I just wish the characters were a little more fleshed out, and I don't know. I think the conclusion was a little, I don't know. I don't know if force is the right word. I just kind of wish it went in a slightly different direction. But I think it does a really good job of looking at like how sexual assault affects people and like how it changes them and almost reveals their true colors. Like no matter how well you know someone, when it comes down to it, you know, like in a certain situation, it's gonna really, the effects it has on them is really gonna reveal who they are. I thought it did a really good job of doing that. What's a documentary film, TFW, No GF, That Face with No Girlfriend, which is about like incel, 4chan community. Great premise, great like opening 30 minutes, but then it just kind of meanders for a bit and then tries to have a happy ending, even though no one has really improved their life after being interviewed for the film. And it's just kind of watching a bunch of like sad 20-year-old white men complain about being depressed and then not doing anything about it, and instead using edgy jokes to deflect the humor and then never fully being called out on it. Oh, and we lost Adam. Okay. So
Adam died. Rest in peace to Adam.
It's Corona. It's taken everybody. That's probably a bad joke. Anyway. Yeah, I'll keep going until Adam comes back and then we'll talk more. But yeah, and then I watched Cat in the Wall, which is another fiction film that was not that great, which is about like I forget the country of origin, but basically it's about immigrants in a British apartment complex dealing with being immigrants when randomly a cat enters their life, and it turns out it's a cat that's owned by someone else in the apartment complex, and the cat gets stuck in a wall and hijinks ensue. Not really, though. It's kind of boring, and I don't know. I feel like the movie was just trying to talk about too many things. Like about it's trying to talk about gentrification. It's trying to talk about immigrants and their lives, but just and it's trying to also like, I don't know, it just felt like it was trying to do a lot, and it just never really fully focused on one thing. And then it tries to have like an emotional ending that doesn't really land because you don't really feel connected to these people and their situation. But I think there are people that will get something out of it. Looking at the Letterboxd reviews, plenty of people seem to really enjoy it. So clearly people are getting something out of it. So I can't complain too much. But yeah, those are my Amazon films that I saw.
Yeah, overall, I think the South by Southwest on Amazon Prime, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a good like testing grounds because there weren't a lot of like big name films being there.
Right.
I wouldn't expect big name films to be there, to be honest. But I think this, once the numbers come out of like how many times these films are like streamed and so on and so forth, we'll get a better idea of how the virtual film festival will fare if it does continue on into the future kind of thing. And I think that another issue that Amazon Prime had with the film festival is when I pull up Prime Video, it wasn't the first thing to show up. Like I had to search for it, which was actually kind of annoying, and they kind of buried it, which I think is a big mistake on their part. Because if you're going to have a film festival, I would have that on like the front page. Do you know what I mean?
No, when I was looking for Cat in the Wall, because I did it last Tuesday near the end of the festival, there was nothing. Like usually there was like the third section down would be like, hey, here's all those South by Southwest films. It was gone. Like I literally had to like find out what the name of it was. I forgot the name of it, and I had to search it on Amazon to find it. There was no like, hey, here's a cool thing you should watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was really disappointing to see.
And if we'll probably talk more, I guess we can talk about it now with like YouTube's whole thing that they're going to be doing, which is what are the film festivals that's going to be a combination of YouTube's film festival that they're having?
And TIFF, Venice, Tribeca. I think that's it.
So a lot of the major ones.
Yeah.
And if they do it, they need to put that like on the homepage. Like it needs to be the first thing that you see.
Yep.
Because that's my biggest complaint with the Amazon Prime South by Southwest thing is, like I said, barely could find any of the films. But yeah. So yeah, those are all
experiment.
Amazon Prime Film Festival.
Do you think The Five Bloods is going to be in the YouTube Film Festival?
When is it again?
Sorry?
When is the YouTube festival again?
It's like June 1st to 20th, I think, something like that.
When was it supposed to come out on Netflix? I know
It's coming out on Netflix. It's coming on Netflix on like the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah. But because it was supposed to show at Cannes, because like it had, but yeah, so I get, and it's obviously not going to now, so I guess. But now I mean, Cannes is like doing the YouTube thing, so I don't know, might be there, but I don't know. Who knows?
I wonder if Netflix would allow that. I wonder if they'd be like, yeah,
no,
everybody watch it.
Because Netflix and Cannes, they're kind of like breaking bread at this point, because like up to that point, Cannes was like, oh, we're not going to show like any Netflix films, but now like I guess because like before any festival thing, Len, for any movie at a festival, the logo for it comes up.
And they would have
like the festival, like for TIFF, like or for anything, the logo for the festival comes up. Like for it's reported that like the one for The Five Bloods is like a Cannes logo supposed to play before it. So supposedly they did that. So Netflix might just be like kind of easing their restriction on where their films can show or whatever. So
maybe.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be on YouTube, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. But,
because if the festival's supposed to be starting June 1st, I don't understand why Netflix would be like, yeah, we're going to put it out on YouTube 4 days before it's going to be on Netflix.
I mean, it could be like a one that would only be there for like a day or so, like a few hours, and then she get some publicity for it. Because like, I mean, up to this point, I was surprised. And like, still, a lot of people still don't know like the Spike Lee has a film coming out on Netflix in like a few weeks. So I mean, it could be just like for publicity or whatever.
Well, theaters are going to be open July, according to
Christopher Nolan.
executives.
Christopher Nolan. According to Christopher Nolan.
Gonna die.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan. If Christopher
Nolan's
Nolan,
gonna bring theaters back from the dead.
You know, Tenet looks cool. It's not that cool. It's not cool enough for me to risk my life.
yeah, Christopher Nolan is going to eradicate coronavirus by himself. He's to get asses in seats. He's going to form a vaccine in the next month. He said, I don't care, you fuckers. I'm going to get you in to watch my fucking movie. I don't know what fuck you do. I'm going to get you in your asses in these seats. I don't give a shit.
Chris Nolan kidnapped that goat that might have the cure to the coronavirus. That article, and he's right now.
What is it? He's interrogating it.
Cut that bitch open.
Goat like in like a
Where's the
garage. He's like, give me the fucking cure right now.
He's like calling DiCaprio. All right, hear me out. What if we go in the goat's dreams? DiCaprio's like, okay, Nolan, I really need you to calm down for a second. Okay, I really need you to just think about what you said. Yeah,
the
Top has the cure.
What do you think a goat's dreams looks like?
Inception.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
It's the
They're
full
really
movie.
boring. They're in office buildings.
It's just rolling hills for miles.
They keep like wrapping up on one another.
He dreams of humans jumping over fences.
Jesus.
I'm counting humans. Let me sleep.
I think that whole idea of us being able to go to theaters in July is ridiculous.
It's not happening.
Yeah. Everything's coming back way too soon.
You don't want to see Tenet?
I'll probably.
I want to see
if
Tenet
it's in theaters.
Really? You're going to go, Landon?
Probably.
All right.
You guys hazmat suit on.
I was gonna say I'll just wear a hazmat suit.
I go out like probably twice a week, and I just wear gloves and a mask.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, yeah, like, yes, but also, I don't know.
I'm not like going out to like I'll go on a walk kind of thing.
Right, but you're not going to like a close, like like an area where you're close to people.
A restaurant.
I went to Walmart on Mother's Day to get my mom a Mother's Day gift.
Aw.
And I forgot my gloves and mask. It was packed, and I was like having like a panic attack. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And I got to the register and my card wasn't working because like my chip doesn't work in my card anymore. I was like, I'll just put everything back. And then I just ran out. I was like, I can't handle any of this.
Bro, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, I understand that.
But yeah, what do you think a good time for theaters to reopen is?
October.
Honestly,
September at the earliest.
I think studios should be planning for next year.
Yeah, that's like really smart. That's probably the smartest decision.
Yeah.
And I think like the ultimate test is gonna be like, because here's what is gonna happen, right? And this might be like a blessing in disguise in a weird way. I think if everything goes well, that's a big if. If everything goes well, we can find a vaccine. We can reduce we can flatten the curve. Everything. We can reduce the spread, and then it's like fairly safe to go out. There's no second wave. We're all right. What movie's coming out at the end of the year when this is happening?
There's going to be a second wave. I'm just saying that right now.
But I'm just saying, like, this is like pie in the sky. Not gonna happen. But if it did happen, what's the only movie to see? Dune. And then everyone's gonna see Dune, and everyone's gonna fucking hate it except weird nerds, but it's gonna make a lot of money, and then Denis Villeneuve can finally make a series of movies.
Okay,
That's what they dream of at night.
That's honestly the whole idea. I feel like Tenet actually believes, and you know what? There's probably going to be a lot of idiots that will go out, like myself, that will go out and see Tenet in theaters just to get out of the house. And if they release in July, I honestly think that it'll make
a big hit. It's going to be
going to make a lot of money.
Okay, Sam, I thought you were going to say, though, pie in the sky at the end of the film, at the end of the year. What film are we all going to see?
Prudes 2.
West Side Story, starring Ansel Elgort.
Wait, was that supposed to come out this year?
Yeah, at Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to come out in the summer.
No, it's supposed to be Christmas.
Oh, I'm thinking of In the Heights. Very different movie.
Look, that we all see In the Heights. It's a double feature. Lin-Manuel Miranda's he's tearing tickets. He's like, come see my movie. Come on.
Yo, come on.
He's like, come on, everyone.
He's like bought the tickets already to make sure the movie makes
Like,
money.
come on, just see it. Just take a ticket. I don't give a shit. Come on, please.
Like, come on, man.
You walk into your local Regal or AMC and you just hear show tunes faintly in the distance.
You see that?
In the lobby, you see Lin-Manuel Miranda wearing a little hat, tearing tickets and singing show tunes. And you're like,
He dresses Alexander Hamilton. He's singing the entire album by himself. He dresses all the characters from Hamilton.
Dude, no, it's like it's gonna be like the Simpsons episode where the guy convinces them to build the monorail and he has a whole like song and dance. But it's Lin-Manuel trying to convince you to go see In the Heights. He's got the top hat, the cane.
It's In the Heights and it's Tenet. Christopher Nolan's at one door, Lin-Manuel's at the other door.
Christopher Nolan just stares you down because it just stares at you and you're like, I guess I'll see Tenet now. Okay, yeah.
Christopher Nolan is wearing the goat head over his head that he killed to get the vaccine. And Lin-Manuel Miranda is dressed as Alexander Hamilton. What store are you going to?
Christopher Nolan's just going to put a goat head in everyone's bed.
No, it's on his head.
Scared enough to go see it.
He's wearing the head at him. There's blood all over him. He's killed the goat.
and he's like, lick the blood off my body, you will be fine. The blood holds the cure.
Buy a ticket to Tenet and you can lick my nipple.
Christopher Nolan's gonna get mad at us. Sorry, Chris.
Oh, boo-hoo.
What are you gonna do? You gonna shit your pants?
We're all going to wake up with goat heads in our beds. We're all going to...
Fuck you, Christopher Nolan. Can't do shit to me.
Oh my god.
So meanwhile, like I'm gonna be going to sleep tonight, and Christopher Nolan's just gonna enter my dreams. He's gonna be like, "What did you say? You look."
You're gonna wake up the next day and call us and be like, "Hey, man, I actually think Christopher Nolan's kind of a genius." And I think
I'm gonna wake you. I'm gonna like call you like frantically, Sam, and be like, "Sam, you have to edit that part out of the show. You have to."
Why? What are you talking about?
Chris here. Chris Nolan. He was in my dreams.
Don't speak it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't speak it.
He told me he'd put me in the bookshelf if I didn't take that out of the show. I don't want to be trapped in the bookshelf.
And then I don't edit it out, and the next thing I'm just sitting there and like a book falls on my bookshelf. I'm like
oh shit.
It's a sign.
And then Tom Hardy just flies a plane directly into your room.
Watch Capone.
Please watch Capone. God, please.
I poop my pants in the beginning and the end of the film. Please.
Is that getting a digital release date? I haven't heard.
I guess. I have no idea.
I think it's out on VOD now.
Mm.
So what have you guys been watching?
So anyway, I guess I can go. I already talked about Cat on the Wall, and it was fine. I watched Dogtooth, Yorgos Lanthimos' Dogtooth, which I actually watched originally when it came out, because it came to Netflix, and this came in 2009. So I was probably like 13 or 14, and I just heard it was really good. I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. And I was very concerned and very scared because I'd heard it was a comedy. And I was like, this isn't funny. I'm really disturbed right now. And so I stopped watching halfway through and then looked at the plot synopsis on Netflix, on Wikipedia, and gave up. Years later, Yorgos Lanthimos directs The Lobster. And I'm like, maybe I should give Dogtooth another chance. And this is me giving it another chance because it's on the Criterion channel. And I love it. It's amazing. It's I don't know. I didn't find it that funny while watching it, but I think I'll find it funny now that I've seen it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone described it as a satire. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, in the context of it being a satire, it's kind of funny. Like, I can see that.
I think it's absurdist humor at its highest level.
Mm-hmm.
The absurdity no longer is comedic. The absurdity is just kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you said, I feel like if you rewatch it, those absurdist elements, because you know the gist of it, you're gonna be like, okay, this is funny now. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, like, part of the film, the experience of watching it is just trying to figure out, like, what's going on. You know, even going in knowing the general premise, which is of a family where they're so, like, the kids are so sheltered by the father and the mother that they, like, almost have their own, like, society and own rules that's dictated by the parents, specifically the father, to the point where they have almost like their own language. If they wake up in the morning and they'll play a tape, and the tape is like, today you're going to learn the word, I don't know, like dog, and dog stands for a red flower, or like something random like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's ultimately just like about almost like the nature of information, or like society and societal norms, and how much we take them for granted when we see like a reflection of how society works in this like small case, and it's different from us. And you're like, well, like, you see how crazy it is, and then you think like, well, there's a lot of things I just accept and believe because my parents told me or people told me. How much of that isn't true? How much of that, if someone looked at me, would be like, oh man, this person's crazy, you know? And then shows how the efforts of people to protect, you know, the efforts to shelter and protect children ultimately backfires in very shocking ways. But it's an amazingly well shot film, very well acted. That wasn't his first film, was it?
No, his first film is it starts with a K. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. Hold on.
Kira or Kenna?
Akira. Hold on.
Kaneda or something like that.
It is
Netta?
Kaneda.
Yeah.
Kaneda, yeah. That movie is good.
Question mark.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's no dialogue throughout the entire movie.
Oh, really?
And it still maintains his style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much like an experimental first film where he's definitely getting the hooks into what he wants his aesthetic to be. And it's just him experimenting with different situations he can put his characters in and how they would react. So like it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
I mean, it's on the Criterion channel, so I'm probably going to watch it at some point. Speaking of first films by a director, I watched Hunger, which is the first film from Steve McQueen, the director of Shame, 12 Years a Slave, Widows. And this was my third time watching it because I'm watching it for my review series on YouTube. And it's still a great film, and I still love it, even though I don't necessarily enjoy watching it. But I think for a first feature, it's extremely impressive and like is really great at it's Steve McQueen having such a handle on his own style and his own like goal of making sensory films that really play on, you know, sight, sound, touch, you know, you can even smell it at some points. And it's just a really great film that I think, you know, even if you don't know the particular political situation, which is of Irish prisoners in the 80s in Britain who want to be considered prisoners of war, but then lose that status and are fighting to get those rights back through various protests, which are very demeaning and humiliating and horrific. And then the prison in general treats them horribly. And, you know, the film doesn't really shy away from how these people are treated. It's very, I don't know if graphic is the right word, but it's very raw, I guess. but it never feels exploitative, or it never feels unjustified, I guess. And I think overall it really works and really, really, I don't know, it's just super engaging. There's the infamous 20-minute one take of just Michael Fassbender and a Catholic priest talking to each other. And it's like right in the middle of the movie, and like their whole movie's had like maybe 10 lines of dialogue, and now we're just talking, and it's amazing. I don't know. I just think it's an incredible film, and it's especially for a first feature from Steve McQueen. But then we'll go on to make Shame, and Shame is like even better somehow. Like Shame's incredible. But yeah, I love that movie. I mean, I don't know. Sorry.
Either of those. I still haven't seen Shame or Hunger.
Mm-hmm. Really recommend them. Hunger has one of the images in Hunger I will never forget is like near the end when the main character Bobby Sands, played by Michael Fassbender, is doing a hunger strike in order to like protest these rights that they want. He is like lying in bed, and he's been like, by the end he's gone 66 days without food. And it like is just destroying, like his body's literally eating itself, right? And there's this shot, because Michael Fassbender actually lost weight for the film, and there's a shot where he's lying in bed, and you see like his torso and then his stomach, and he just dips, like from where his rib cage is, just down. And it always just like shocks me every time. I've seen the movie 3 times, and it just hits me every time. It's incredible. So see Hunger if you want to ruin your day, and try not to eat anything while you watch it, because it's going to make you feel bad for eating something. And then another Criterion. It's not a film. It is actually a film in the collection, but I watch it on the Criterion channel. I watch The Vanishing, which is a film from the Netherlands and the
not the Jeff Bridges one, right? Not the bad one.
Well, here's the thing. So it's a remake of this movie, and it's from the same director.
Yeah.
Which I found out about afterwards. But the film is about this couple. It's a guy and a girl. They go like on a holiday trip, and when they stop at a gas station, the girlfriend gets kidnapped, and she just disappears. And the guy's like, "Oh my god!" Cut to 3 years later, and he's still trying to find her. And so one half of the movie is the guy trying to find his girlfriend who's been kidnapped. The other half of the movie is following the kidnapper and seeing how he got to the point in his life where he could kidnap somebody. And it is really fascinating and really disturbing in how, like, logical isn't the right word, but you, like, understand where his thought process goes, where, like, his view of, like, kidnapping someone and like, essentially, like, his whole thought process is almost like, you know, I could not do that, but nothing in, like, destiny, like this choice isn't preordained. I could just do it. So why don't I just do it? You know, it's a very sociopathic way of looking at it. And the way the actor, what is his name? I got to make sure I say his name. Bernard Pierre Donadieu. I probably said his name wrong. But he has such an incredible knack of saying his lines very matter-of-factly, where he doesn't think anything's wrong of what he's saying. He's just like, yeah, no, that's what I did. And he just is saying the most horrible, heinous shit you could imagine, you know? And so in that level, it's a really engaging mystery that, like, has real Silence of the Lambs vibes, like Hannibal Lecter type of thing. It's very creepy. It's very unnerving. The only issue I have with the film is the main guy and his whole thing I'm not interested in. And, like, so whenever it cuts to him, it's way less interesting than with the murderer, or with, like, the kidnapper, murderer, whatever you want to call him. But it does lead to an incredible finale, which has a really great final scene that is really chilling and really, like, really effective, which they had to cut out of the American version because producers were like, people aren't going to like this ending, and they shot the ending and people didn't like it.
When did this come out?
1988.
The American remake is not great. I remember seeing on TV one night. It has I actually forgot Sandra Bullock's in it. Jeff Bridges and Kiefer Sutherland. It's not great.
But I would say The Vanishing is great, though. I think it's a really fantastic movie. Looking up afterwards, Stanley Kubrick said it was one of the scariest films he'd ever seen and thought The Shining wasn't as scary compared to it.
What a pussy.
That's what I'm saying, bro. But I mean, it is actually like, it's not like terrifying, but it's like really unnerving. Like, it's like, I didn't watch the movie and was like shaking, like, oh God. I was just kind of like, man, this is really like fucked up. Like, this is really creepy. Really well made. Has a really weird score. I won't go into it, but it's like a really interesting score.
Does it go like this? Beep, boop, boop, beep.
I mean, it is synthesizer based. It is like you're not that far off. This is the funny part. But then last but not least, yesterday was Mother's Day. And so after I'd called my mom, I unconsciously decided to watch Lady Bird and then realized halfway through, oh, this is perfect for Mother's Day. Wow. But I listened to it with the commentary track from Greta Gerwig and the director of photography on the film, whose name, I forget his name, but it was really interesting because you get a lot of insights into like their goals in making the movie, and they really point out a lot of interesting stuff that I never quite noticed before. Like, I had never noticed the editing of the film, and hearing the commentary made me notice how like perfect the editing is, how like perfectly they cut on like movement and like related ideas. Like, there's a really great moment where after Lady Bird kisses Lucas Hedges' character, and she has that moment where she's running in the street and screams, comes back home and has that fight with her mom. The very next scene is her going to the counselor to see which colleges she can get into, which is that thought process of like, I had a great night, just went bad, I have to get out of here, you know? Mm-hmm. And it made me very aware of how well put together that movie is, and made me admire it even more than I already have. So yeah, Lady Bird is still an incredible film and one of my favorites, and the commentary track improved it. So yeah.
Little Women's better.
It is. You're 100% right. It is. Which it should be. I ordered it from Amazon after watching Lady Bird, and it should be arriving tomorrow. So
yeah, Lady Bird, I think gets me more emotional than Little Women, but I think the filmmaking behind Little Women is so much more masterfully done.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And Lady Bird, like the direction behind it and everything behind it is much, you can see that a lot of care went into it. They're both great movies. I'm not saying that Lady Bird's bad. I just think, I think that she honed her craft with Lady Bird, and then she executed that honing within Little Women, if you know what I mean.
I think you're 100% right about that. And I will say Lady Bird, I think, does get me more emotional, because even listening to the commentary, you know, not even fully hearing the dialogue, the final moments of the film still made me tear up.
Yeah.
Like, I still just watching the cut from Lady Bird driving to like the smash cut to her mom in the exact same spot. Every time I cry like a little baby. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've seen the movie, it still happens.
It's just that cut is like, that might be one of the best cuts in any movie ever, maybe.
So simple, and yet it's like literally the movie, right? Yeah. Like the whole movie is this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just spend an hour and a half seeing why this moment matters, and it's just like it's the ultimate thesis statement. It's pure cinema, okay?
Yeah, I just one of my favorite parts from Lady Bird is like near the end when she finally goes to college. Like, I don't know why it gets me so emotional. It's not like her at the airport. It is when she actually arrives at college, and it's like that kind of like montage of just interacting with college. For some reason, it just makes me so emotional, and I can never like put to words why, but I think it's just the way that it shows her finally being free and how she acts upon it. And I think that's what makes it work so well. And I think that's what makes the ending work so well. Lady Bird's just so well done. It's so well done.
It's a movie made with a lot of love and care. and a lot of passion. And it's one of those movies I think I can go back to at any time, at any point, and I'll just watch the whole thing. You know, I can't just like watch part of it. I have to like watch the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are all the movies I watched. Kind of a light week this week, but that's me.
Sam.
Brandon.
Who's the cutest person in Lady Bird?
What?
Who's the cutest person in Lady Bird? And here's what's in what do all right, yeah, who's the what first? Yeah, that's the first question. Who's the cutest person?
The dad.
I was gonna have a different answer, but it's probably the dad. In terms of the guys, he's probably the cutest. In terms of the girls,
no, we're talking about everybody, and that's the wrong answer.
These two are tied.
The right answer is Lucas Hedges.
It's not Lucas Hedges.
That's it. Sam,
or it's the dad, and it's Beanie Feldstein.
Tracy oh my God, Tracy Letts is adorable. I combined Beanie Feldstein and Tracy Letts' names. I said Tracy Feldstein. No, that's the most Jewish name ever. No, it's Tracy Letts. Tracy Letts is adorable, but not more adorable than Lucas Hedges.
Who's that?
Huh?
White kid.
Lucas Hedges?
No, who's Tracy Felds?
No, Tracy Letts.
Who's Tracy Letts?
He's he's actually one of the best like playwrights, and like he did August Osage County.
Who is he in the movie?
I know he plays Lady Bird's dad.
Okay.
Why did you just say that first? Yes,
that's what I asked. I was like, who is he? And then you're like, oh yeah, he's a playwright.
Tracy Letts. Yeah, no, he's Mr. Bird.
Okay.
He's Mr. Bird.
Mr. Bird.
Yeah.
He wrote Killer Joe?
He wrote Killer Joe, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love Killer Joe.
Yeah. He's a really great writer. Really
That's my favorite use of fried chicken in any movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh God.
Green Book?
Green Book's a close second. Close second. It's on the same level as Killer Joe in terms of misusing a fried chicken. Except in Killer Joe, it's a little more devious. It's a little more suggestive. Have you guys seen Killer Joe? I feel like you've seen it, Brandon. You haven't seen Killer Joe?
Yeah, I have.
Great movie.
Yeah.
It's a part of the reconnaissance.
It's the beginning. Wait, you said start, right?
It's not the start. It's a part of it. It was in the same year. Hold on, I gotta double check. It was the same year as like a whole bunch of Matthew McConaughey movies that were great.
Mud, right? Mud is one of them, right?
Yeah, Mud's up there. Magic Mike was that 2011?
That was 2012, but I thought Mud was 2013.
Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Maybe you're right.
Hold on,
Mud was 2012. Let's see.
Killer Joe.
Such a good movie, dude.
2012, he was
terrible.
in Mud, Magic Mike, and The Paperboy, and then Dallas Buyers Club and Wolf of Wall Street the next year.
When was Killer Joe? The year before?
Year before, yeah.
What else came out that year? There's something else, right?
Bernie and the Lincoln Lawyer.
Bernie and the Lincoln Lawyer. That's it. Lincoln Lawyer, not that bad. Pretty entertaining.
It's good. It's actually good.
Bernie, really good. Underrated Linkletter film.
One of the best.
Letter.
We'll have to rewatch it, but maybe. I don't know. But then Killer Joe comes out. William Friedkin, director of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Making a weird, dark comedy with sexual fried chicken that got an NC-17 rating, even though there's no nudity.
That should have been the title of the movie, Sam. Sexual fried chicken.
I mean, I think more people would have seen it.
I know. Yeah, they would have.
Then more people would have been like, ooh, why is that fried chicken so sexy?
Fried chicken is sexy.
Some guy just sitting there like, man, they found me out. That's my fetish. How they
He
know?
just goes to KFC and he just eats that shit up. He just buys a whole bucket. One drumstick in one hand, another in the other.
Tasty.
All right, who's next?
I'll go. So, I know, obviously, since the recording messed up last week, we didn't get around to everything with what we watched. So I'm going to share my screen for a second.
Oh my God.
You know PowerPoint, Adam?
Adam,
Is it a PowerPoint? No.
Adam, I watched like 10 movies last week. It's lost to time. It's fine.
No, I'm doing it.
You don't have to do the joke again. It's fine.
I'm going to do the joke.
I don't think it landed well the first time.
It's going to land anyway. Okay.
Hey, man, rule of threes.
It's gonna land
Rule
this
of
time.
Okay. So I started off the quarantine by doing a James Bond marathon.
Ah,
Then I did a racing marathon.
ah,
Then I did a hockey marathon.
ah,
Then I did an Anna Kendrick marathon. And then I did nothing over the last 2 weeks.
Whoa!
I can't stress enough how nice it's been to not watch a ton of things. So last week, before Stop Making Sense, I only watched Speed, which is just as good every time I watch it. It's one of those movies that puts the pedal down like as soon as it starts and then just goes to the floor.
Adam?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch the power. Can you play it again?
No.
No, seriously, I don't think I saw it.
I didn't. Something was wrong with my screen. I didn't share
You
it.
guys can watch it when the recording goes up.
Oh, dude, I've not been recording this whole time. I actually stopped the recording early because I messed up.
We'll start the recording now, Adam.
Okay, so we're starting recording now.
So then I watched Everybody Wants Some, which is, speaking of Linklater movies, it came out in 2016. I watched it that fall. I watched this on April 30th. Our semester, okay, I'm going to back that up. I watched it in the fall of 2016, which was the first semester that I was in college, and it kind of felt appropriate because the movie's about people getting to college and everything. And then I decided with like a week left of my senior year, it was appropriate to do it again. And I forgot how much I loved it, and it was kind of nice because but it also made me nostalgic for college baseball, which like 8 games that I was going to broadcast got nixed because of the virus. But it's a great movie. I could probably watch it like 10 times and not get tired of it. It's kind of like Stop Making Sense, which we watched a couple of days after that. But last week, this week was kind of just seeing what was on TV and watching whatever was on TV. So on Tuesday, I watched Big Trouble in Little China again. It's been a while since I had seen it. It's probably my favorite, it's my second favorite Kurt Russell, John Carpenter movie behind The Thing, obviously. But Big Trouble in Little China, there's so much in it that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't make sense in the best possible way. And it's a lot of fun, and it's an hour and a half, so it goes by like that. And there's just so much they put into it that makes it fun. Like, it looks low budget, but you've got this gigantic. Have any of you guys seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's like the gigantic throne room set at the end. That's great. The general, I guess, like underbelly of Little China or Chinatown in San Francisco that they have to go throughout the movie. It's great. Kurt Russell looks like he's having a lot of fun with it.
Adam, what is the best scene in Big Trouble in Little China, and why does the scene when the ninjas first show up during like the street fight in the beginning?
What is the best scene in it, and what?
What is the best scene in Big Trouble in Little China?
Right.
And why is it the scene near the beginning
Oh.
when ninjas first show up to fight in the street?
Well, because they're one of the 2 ninja squad's leaders is the dude from Die Hard. That's why.
I didn't know that. I was talking more about the guy who like his head's down. He comes up. He's like he has a stupid face. It's very funny.
Lopan? Was that Lopan?
I don't know, dude. It was someone.
Adam, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Why is China so little?
That's a fantastic question.
You know, I don't blame him.
But then the next night, I watched actually a movie that also takes place in Little China or Chinatown in California. I watched Rush Hour, which came on TV.
I thought you were going to say Chinatown.
Oh no, Chinatown's great. But I watched Rush Hour. Rush Hour's fine. It's not super memorable, but Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are kind of a fun, I guess, buddy cop duo. But ultimately kind of forgettable.
Adam, have you seen Police Story?
Have I seen what?
Police Story?
No, I haven't.
Have any of you guys seen Police Story?
I own it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my God, Sam, you gotta watch it.
Okay, I'm holding off because I have the Criterion, so I want to like wait until the time. Could also just watch it and then record the episode. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's very fair.
And we were talking about Bernie earlier. Another Richard Linklater, Jack Black movie came on HBO on Thursday, which was School of Rock, which I somehow haven't seen yet. School of Rock's pretty great. Jack Black is kind of like the week before with David Byrne. Jack Black is such an infectious presence. And then this was that School of Rock, and then the next movie were two I planned way in advance just because I saw they were coming on back to back. I've never seen either one. Red Eye came on right after that, and Red Eye is a 2005 movie directed by Wes Craven. Stars Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy, who I continue to think is one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood, period. And he's pretty great in it. The movie's pretty good. It's a pretty solid thriller. And then on Saturday, there was a bunch of stuff on TV that I wanted. It was all stuff that I'd be rewatching. There was Fast and Furious 3, which I saw bits of, Fast and Furious 4, Pitch Perfect 2, Pitch Perfect 3, The Accountant, and Talladega Nights.
Adam,
What?
how many times in the last, no, be completely honest. Be honest with me, yourself, Sam, Landon. How many times have you watched Pitch Perfect in the last 4 months?
Zero, actually.
In the last 2 months.
Zero, actually. The last time I saw it was last summer.
Pitch Perfect.
I was just listing out stuff that I wanted to rewatch that was on TV. So
Every night before he goes.
He's watching it right now.
Yeah.
It's on his TV.
His glasses. It's like Kendrick's thing for the Cup song.
Out of everything that was on, I went with Talladega Nights because it's been quite a few years since I saw it. I'm currently writing a series of articles on racing movies for Front Stretch, and I figured I'd wind up writing one on Talladega Nights eventually. And it's still pretty great. Does a good job of both showing the NASCAR world and also making fun of it. And Sacha Baron Cohen is a lot of fun as Jean Girard. And, I mean, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. I was going to say you can't.
Oh.
You can what?
Did we lose him? I think we may have lost Adam.
I think Adam died.
Oh, no.
Adam.
Wait.
Adam.
Are you back?
How much of that got cut off?
All right.
Huh?
How much of that got cut off? My internet kind of.
All of it. You need to show a PowerPoint again.
But yeah, Talladega Nights still good on rewatch.
Do you want to hear a funny Talladega Nights story? Well, I don't know if it's funny, but I'll just say it. So on my 21st birthday, I had to represent the restaurant I used to work for because they had bought a sponsorship at a NASCAR race here in Richmond.
Yeah. Well, Hibachi Box. Yeah. They sponsored Greg Golding's car that race.
I don't want to say their name to give them publicity, but whatever. But so it was on my 21st birthday, so I went with my manager, and we spent the day just at a NASCAR race.
Yeah, I was there too.
And we were there like in the pit. It was really interesting. It was very loud. No one that came with us, including ourselves, liked NASCAR that much. We were just kind of there. I had some beer, of course, on my 21st birthday, and then we went home. I went back to my manager's house. We ordered pizza and then watched Talladega Nights, just to be in the mood for it. And I hadn't seen Talladega Nights in maybe 10 years since I was like in elementary school. Like, oh wow, this is really funny, and I had a good time. And I got very drunk.
Yeah, being at the raceway itself is fun. I know I was there as media, but yeah, Talladega Nights.
I wonder if I ran into you. Did I know you at that point?
I don't think so.
Probably saw you. said, "Look at that
Probably.
dork." No, I'm just kidding.
Why is he wearing a Lightning McQueen shirt?
He has like the cars like with the suspenders. It's like around him. Me, Lightning McQueen.
Yes, Lightning McQueen.
I've got a question. Lightning
Billy
McQueen.
Frog, see you. Huh?
I was saying, it's like I've got a question for Jimmy Johnson. This is Lightning McQueen from VCU's Commonwealth Times.
No, he has the shoes on that are in the shape of the cars.
Uh-huh.
You know, like the shoes that are like the cars, like you're like slipping go to bed in, like little little slippers. He has those on. They're like lighting up. The light up Lightning McQueen slippers, and he has like the Lightning McQueen bed with him.
Yeah.
No. All right. How about this? He has the Lightning McQueen bed, but he's put motors on the wheels. That'll move. And he's just laying in bed with a microphone.
He's racing in his bed. It's like the Hibachi Box car and Adam's bed are like neck and neck the entire race.
Bro, you want to know the best part? Our car, like, I think the car that we sponsored, like, wrecked out or something.
Yeah.
Like
It was Gray Golding driving it, so that might have been the case. I know they
Got his ass, Adam. Got his ass.
No, that was their last season. I know they had a lot of issues that year.
Yeah.
It could have been.
Did the guy work at HB?
No.
No, it was literally like his that guy's like marketing manager or whoever it is like knew the owners and was like, "Hey, our sponsor just dropped out. I'll give it to you for a reduced rate." And they were like, "Oh, we have a lot of money. Okay." Like it literally was just, "We have a lot of money. We can do this." Okay.
Yeah, they were because that team was BK Racing. They were involved with Richmond a lot when they came here. Like, I know they had Sweet Frog on the car in 2017 and like Flying Squirrels logos on the roof. And then 2015, one of their guys was sponsored by JMU. So they have a history with Richmond-based stuff.
Go back to Talladega Nights real quick. I don't like that era of comedy.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because like I used to eat it up. I used to just eat it up. But I watched Step Brothers like a couple months ago.
Okay, but
And like Will Ferrell was this pioneering actor, and like it was actually Adam Sandler that pioneered this, but like the man-child type humor does like once you've seen one movie with a man-child, you've seen them all. You've seen them all.
yeah, but what if he drives a race car?
I do like Step Brothers, and I do like some parts of that era of comedy. I don't like the Adam Sandler part. He's someone I can only take a certain amount of.
Madison, is that what you're trying to tell me right now? Is that you're not?
I've never seen Billy Madison. I've only seen Happy Gilmore, which is fine.
Kind of like Billy
You
Madison.
mean Big Daddy?
All right, so what I'll say about this era of
But
comedy.
that has the guy from Riverdale in it, right?
What?
Yeah, the guy from Riverdale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think he was on this little show. What was it called? It was like Zeke and Kyle or something like that. They like lived a glamorous life or something.
Zeke and Freddie.
Zeke and Freddie. The glamorous life of Zeke and Freddie. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
God.
One other Sam, were you gonna say something? I don't remember.
I was gonna say like I somewhat agree with Landon where it's like there are certain movies in that era that I like, but I don't like how that influenced future comedy and like current comedy films. Where it's like Talladega Nights is fun. I think Anchorman is fun if like overdone. The last 15 minutes of Step Brothers is good, and nothing else in that movie is worth watching, in my opinion. Catalina Wine is fun, and that's it. Blades of Glory is underrated. Yeah, I don't know. After that, it's just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know. There's a really great video from Every Frame of Painting where he talks about Edgar Wright and like his style of comedy. And he makes a really great point where like modern comedy films, especially like big budget or like high profile ones, don't really use the full range of film to tell their jokes. It's a lot of ad-libbing. It's a lot of dialogue, but there's not a lot of like jokes with camera movements, jokes like physical humor. There's not a lot of like using the full range of the medium to tell your jokes, which is why Edgar Wright movies are such a breath of fresh air. You know, I don't know. Yeah.
The only other thing I watched that I can think of, and I'll throw to you, Brandon, since I know you saw this too. Well, first, I watched. This was actually, I guess, 2 weeks ago, because the final part comes out, I think, tomorrow. Okay. The final I keep losing internet connection. The final part comes out tomorrow, but it's the documentary on the Seattle Mariners that SB Nation's YouTube series has been doing. It's by
It's the one where you found the missing guy, right?
Yeah, I'll get there. Yeah, it's by John Boyce, who did the Bob Emergency for SB Nation, the documentary last year. He worked on Fighting in the Age of Loneliness, and then some other stuff. But it's a 6-part, like 3-hour series on the history of the Seattle Mariners, the baseball team. They've had a weird history. I can't go into everything. I can't think of everything. But like the dude who named them, who picked the winning name, they went to give him his prize and they couldn't find him. And so it was an unusual name. So I think I found him where like, it's on one of those like the My Life sites where it's like, here's this person's reputation, pay to see more or whatever. And apparently he's in Pennsylvania. So I don't know if he moved right after that or what. But like they had lightning in a bottle. The team had lightning in a bottle twice in the late 90s. They had 4 of the best players at their respective positions. Couldn't make anything happen with it. And then in 2001, they won the most games, or tied for the most games any team has ever won in a season. Didn't even get to the World Series. So it's, and they've had 2 of the best natural talents in the past 25 years, 30 years come through their team, and they couldn't do anything with them. Ken Griffey Jr. and Ichiro Suzuki. So
Ken Griffey Jr. is the best baseball player of all time.
So it's sad in a way, but it's also really
ignore what I'm
good.
going to say, Adam?
What?
Did you ignore? I said Ken Griffey Jr. is the best baseball player of all time.
Oh no, my internet connection got cut off. I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, your internet connection, you bastard.
It did.
I'm just like, okay, whatever.
You agree?
All right, Adam. For an apology, I need you to make a PowerPoint presentation.
But no, Brandon, I totally agree.
You agree with me?
Yeah, I just wish I had gotten to see him play. I did see Ichiro play, but not when he was in Seattle.
Or like good?
Yeah, when he was with Miami, I saw him at Nats Park. I don't think he did anything that day.
Fastest Asian man in the world.
Yeah, he was impressive.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
But yeah, and then the last thing that I guess Brandon, we both watched. I guess we'll have to talk about episodes 6 through 8 because the past 2 weeks. The Last Dance continued on over the past couple of weeks. It ends next weekend.
Yeah.
Hey, so this week, did they talk about Space Jam?
They did.
Yes, they did.
Yes, we got it.
All right, I can watch it now. I can watch the show now.
Very little.
Jordan
They spent a
comment
minute
on
and a half
Lola
on
Bunny?
it at most.
It was like 3 minutes, Adam.
Yeah, they. It was a little bit of behind the scenes stuff.
Did Michael Jordan fuck Lola Bunny?
Yeah.
They show it. Is there a tape?
Be mature. But the week before, they had talked about Jordan playing in the Olympics and becoming just mobbed when he would leave hotels and trying to deal with that fame. And then the next episode talked about his was more of kind of like, hey, here's the flaws of Michael Jordan. It was his gambling problem and eventually winning a 3rd straight title in '93 and kind of questioning how bad that gambling problem was, which he was like, it's not bad, which is gambling addict for, yeah, it's bad. And then this week, in the 7th episode, they went over the death of his father, how he retired in '93, went and played baseball. He actually wasn't as bad as I thought he was. And the Bulls tried to move on. They didn't do as well. And then in episode 8, Jordan comes back. He films Space Jam, and then the Bulls win their 6th title, which concludes with some of saying my favorite footage sounds bad, but like some of the most impactful footage so far, which is Jordan just sobbing uncontrollably with the NBA trophy because he won that championship on Father's Day and his dad wasn't there to see it. That's a super long intro, but Brandon, what did you think of last week and this week?
Last week was great. Because last week was the All-Star game, right?
With Kobe, yes. One of the most tear-jerking moments of the entire thing.
Okay. So last week was my favorite, but this week is probably my second favorite.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really good. I love all the Space Jam stuff. It's really cool. But like, I feel like more than anything, because like all the series takes place analyzing like 2 very specific periods in like Michael Jordan's life. That during that first Bulls dynasty and during the second one, and we're kind of getting into the period of time where it's like they kind of start to coalesce and kind of like start to meet each other, and getting to see kind of the parallels between when he kind of retired and when he kind of won his like 4th championship is really interesting. And like, because I knew a lot about the case where his dad died and like he was like brutally like really it was bad. Like they found like he was like he disappeared in June of 93 or 94, and then they found his body in a river in the next August. And like I don't like, because I wish they would have like asked Michael more questions about like how it kind of affected him and like his decision to transition from basketball to baseball, but I thought they did a good job of doing that. But that wasn't even like, I thought it'd be the most like intriguing part of the documentary, but the most intriguing part to me was like after like he came back to basketball, he got meaner. He got like a lot more kind of like, he got a lot, like he got so much more kind of like, got a lot meaner and he got a lot more committed to the game. Yeah. And like because I'd heard stories about him punching Steve Kerr in the face because like.
1 second. Adam, can you turn down the volume on your computer?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, but I'd heard stories about him punching Steve Kerr before in practice, like for Sam and Lana, like he like one of his point guards, Steve Kerr, who's like coach of the Golden State Warriors now. He was played with Michael Jordan, and Steve Kerr I guess messed up a play or something, and like Michael Jordan he like kind of challenged him on it, and Steve Kerr kind of challenged him back, and Michael Jordan just punched him in the face.
Yeah, Kerr said he punched him in the chest, and then Jordan punched him in the eye.
Yeah. And so after that, because they asked Michael Jordan about the incident, and you can kind of see, because like we talked about it before, like in the weeks leading up to it, but Michael Jordan's like, he's not, I legitimately, I don't know like how, he's a human being, but like he's, something in his brain is like hardwired, because like for people who are basketball, and they like in art or whatever, they like love their work, they love making films, they love doing anything, but they have interests outside of it. They like have other things they want to do in life. The only thing that mattered to Michael Jordan was playing basketball and being the absolute best at it, and like making people fear him. Like he thrives on people like being afraid of him, and people like every time they would see him, he'd like for them to like be scared. And they challenge, like, because like when they asked him the question, he started to cry, because if anyone wants to challenge like his commitment to the game, the reasons why he does, or his like motivations, he could be like legitimately gets like so hurt and so offended. He started to cry, and people were like asking him about like, oh, do you think you maybe went overboard? And he said, I kind of had gone through my entire life wanting the best because I have been at a disadvantage because of who I am. And like he felt that in order to get where he had to do, he has to be the best. And that's such an interesting position, especially coming from someone who he is, because he was a black man, and at that point in time, he was the most famous person on the planet. Like, I legitimately don't think before him, maybe like Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson's like a whole other situation. I don't think there was someone who like reached the level of fame and notoriety that Michael Jordan did in like his time in the 90s. Like and he's such an like interesting person. And like, I really want like a really, really cerebral character study of like who he is and his reasons why. Because like I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna recommend like the first 2 episodes of Last Dance like when it's my turn like in a few weeks. Because like I'm not doing the best job of explaining like how like just how like intense he is and how he like because like so Kevin Garnett who is like in Uncut Gems like Kevin Garnett's like one of the most feared players in the history of basketball. Like
he was my first favorite player.
Yeah, like, he's so good, but like people like hate. He's just a mean person. Like people hated Kevin Garnett. Like he made Glenn Davis, right, Adam?
Vaguely.
He made Glenn Davis cry in the middle of the game.
Oh wow.
He said something to Glenn, and Kevin Garnett said something to Glenn Davis, and he started crying on the bench, like bawling, because he was just said something so terrifying to him, and just like so awful to him. And like I heard this because Kevin Garnett told a story of like how, like when in his rookie year, Michael Jordan, he like because him and like one of his teammates, J.R. Ryder, they were like kind of outscoring Michael Jordan, and like he was kind of taunting Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, and Michael Jordan literally stared at him for like 30 seconds. Not even moving, like blinking. He stared at him for 30 seconds. And Kevin Garnett was like, I was like, something came over me and something entered my body. He literally said something entered I felt something in my chest when he was like looking at me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Michael, he's like, I don't like, there's legitimate arguments to be like made that he's like not a human being. Like he's insane.
Yeah. It's interesting to see them go into his psyche too. Like the story about, maybe you remember the guy's name. He was playing in a series against them, and
B.J. Armstrong?
No, his name started with a L. It was the series that they hang on.
Against the Bullets?
Yeah, LeBradford Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, LeBradford Smith, where basically one night they went out. LeBradford Smith went off on the Bulls. They were in Chicago. And Jordan said that after the game, LeBradford Smith said, nice game, Mike, after Jordan had struggled. And then the day after that, they go to Washington to play a series or a game. And Jordan seemingly used that incident as motivation to go off. He scored, I think, like 30. LeBradford Smith had scored 37 against the Bulls, and then Jordan scored 36 against the Bullets in the first half.
Yeah.
And then apparently years later, Jordan just said that never happened. He just used it as motivation. So it's really interesting to see.
He lied about it. He lied. Like he said it happened, but it never happened.
Yeah.
That's how insane he is. Like he's an actual, like he's a maniac. Like
it's fascinating.
I think he's
so crazy.
Exhibits.
Like,
do you think he exhibits almost like? I think sociopathic tendencies might be a strong word, but I don't know. There's some sense of like putting everything aside that like makes people normal, right? Like putting aside emotion, putting aside all of these drives just to focus on this one thing.
Yes, I wouldn't say he's a sociopath because he plays like some like remorse. Because when he punched Steve Kerr in the face, he's like, "Can I have Steve Kerr's number so I can call him? I feel really bad about it."
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't want to use that word because it's like that seems way too strong for what it is. But it's definitely like kind of what you're saying, like an inhuman drive.
Yeah,
to be the best.
Because like I said it before, like in a few weeks ago, I don't remember what it was, but like people hated him, like nobody, and because when like they're making Space Jam, people were like, when they're making Space Jam, like people were surprised that they got so many other NBA players to be in the film because they all hated Michael Jordan, like they hated him, like, and because he took his game so seriously that he didn't care about making friends, about winning individual awards, about most valuable players, he just cared about winning. Like when I say, like, I'm not even exaggerating. He didn't care about anything but winning. Like his family took a backseat. His fans took a backseat. Everything took a backseat to winning for him. He didn't care about anything else. And it was one of those things where it's just like, there's nobody else who plays sports or anything in like life that where like it can be compared to him. Like he's different.
I'm excited to. I'm also excited with the ESPN thing. I'm also excited not just for The Last Dance next weekend, but they have for the 4 Sundays after that, they're doing a 2-part series on Lance Armstrong, then a documentary on Bruce Lee, and then one on the 1998 home run race between McGuire and Sosa. I'm very excited for all of those.
They look good. But back to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought we were done.
Yeah, no. Just one quick thing. I feel like one thing I wish they would have done is because like I noticed like, a few years ago, but I was like reading about Michael Jordan and like his father, and something that was like really interesting to me because like when his father died, like I kind of thought of it in this way that when that happened, that's kind of when the last kind of glimpses of humanity he had of like regular humanity, like actually because like him and his father were so close. Like the most famous picture of Michael Jordan, him like at the NBA like after winning the championship,
Yeah.
with his trophy, with his father like right next to him. Hi, Yam Yam, Yam Yam, Yam Yam. Anyways, but yeah, like when his father died, that's kind of, to me at least, that's when like the last kind of glimpses of like being like actual human with emotions, like with regular emotions, kind of like left him.
Yeah.
You see it the same way, Adam?
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely like when they started talking about it, like I was like, this isn't going to be fun to listen to. Just the whole situation about how Michael's mom and Michael started talking about how they didn't hear from him for a few days, and then it just all started going south from there. That wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah.
But it's also fascinating at the same time.
But yeah, these past 2 episodes were really good. I can't wait for the next 2. Gonna be really interesting. I didn't watch much else though this past week. I watched after we watched Muppets, I watched Popstar Never Stop Never Shopping. I really liked it. It's still a great film. I think it's some of the best. What'd you say, Sam?
Still need to see it.
Come on.
Still need to watch it.
Man. Like I think it's the best thing Lonely Island's ever done. Like by far, I think it's so.
Do you think it'll get a Criterion?
It should. I don't think it will.
Okay. I think there's a chance. This is Spinal Tap is in the collection.
That's true.
Okay, if that can be in the collection, The Breakfast Club is in the collection. Tootsie's in the
The
collection.
Breakfast Club's
All right.
pretty great, though.
Are you trying to say Popstar isn't
Shut
pretty
up, you
great?
40-year-old man.
There are some weird movies in the collection, you know? Anything?
Is The Breakfast Club weird, though?
Well, no, just like things you wouldn't expect, like
Armageddon.
Okay.
like Armageddon, The Rock, Repo Man, which is a punk, exploitation movie from the 80s, like a little
RoboCop.
movie. RoboCop, yeah,
RoboCop's
RoboCop's in the collection.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I hope so. It should, but like I don't know.
Well, like, and when Criterion first started, one of the first Laserdiscs they ever put out was freaking Akira.
Mm.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's just so many gags in the film that work, like that still works. I've seen it like a few times, but they still like hit me in the same way. They're still so funny. Like
The only joke that doesn't work for me is the wedding with Seal and the Wolves.
I mean, I think some of it works for me. Like when it first starts, when the wolves first start like attacking everyone, it's like so it's so absurd. Like it's funny, but like it gets old kind of fast though.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it first starts happening, and they're like, can you get the wolves to quiet down? And he's like, no. And then like
Soundtrack still slaps to this day.
Yeah.
Also, the guy who's supposed to be like a parody of Tyler the Creator. I forget what his name is. He's from
Hunter
the Hungry.
Yeah, Hunter the Hungry.
Yeah. He's hilarious in it.
Yeah.
That guy's on SNL now.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, that's really good. What's your favorite jokes from the film, Landon?
Trying to think. I love when they go and find their friend and like they show that like what he's been carving. I think the like when he like goes through that whole thing is hilarious. I love the gag where what's his name wears the mask on stage.
Oh yeah. It's like a giant beam that's shooting
the giant beam that comes out and his head falls over and just blinds like the entire audience.
I really like the one where they're like he's telling like his manager's telling him that the album's not doing that well, someone to turn the camera off, and then like the giant bees come.
Yeah.
And they're like, and he's like, get the flamethrower, and then they gets like a giant laser, and they're like, get that. That's really good. But yeah, no. What are some other ones?
Also the one with what's her name? Saturday Night Live.
Kate McKinnon.
To Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh, Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph. When
the refrigerators. That's
yeah. And like the whole like name gag, Deborah.
And like I'm not gonna say it right now, but like can I say the N-word?
Says the N-word.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking?
And like, one of his friends like, can I say the N-word?
Huh?
Are you asking?
Will you have to cut it out?
We can bleep it.
Oh, okay, so
do we have to cut it out? I don't think so.
Yeah, well,
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Like, so one of his friends is like, it's all about like, the thing about pop star, it's like a lot of the jokes in theory are kind of like would normally work that well, but like the delivery and the way that like the actors say it, it's like so fun, like it's so good. And like one of Connor's like friends, he's like, yo, this shit is tight, my nigga. And then like she's like, yeah, this is great, my nigga.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Oh God.
It's been like 4.5 years since I watched it. I need to get around to it again.
It's so
Sorry, that joke reminds me of the Rappin' for Jesus video.
Oh yeah.
Also, like the gay, like the straight gay song is really good.
Yeah, that one's good. The one where they're
Yeah.
making fun of Macklemore.
Yeah.
Is that streaming anywhere?
Huh?
Bin
It was on
Laden song is a
HBO.
classic.
Wasn't it on HBO?
Yeah, no, it's on TNT right now. So if you have like a cable subscription, you can like get on there. But like,
What
you can
is?
rent it on places for like a few dollars.
Okay.
What is, Brandon?
Huh?
What's on TNT?
It's Popstars on TNT. So if you have cable, like you can.
Well, no, but wouldn't they censor it though?
No,
Really?
It's streaming online.
I don't know. 'Cause
Okay.
I watch it on like because I have Xfinity and like you can watch all like the movies they have on there. So like they didn't censor it.
Okay, good.
I was kind of expecting them to, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, what?
But then I forget. It's also just the whole like number with the what are they called? Like the projections of what's his name?
Adam Levine.
Adam Levine, yeah.
Like that's like near the beginning though, right?
Yeah, that's in the beginning. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the opener, yeah. I'm so humble, yeah.
The whole gag where he's reading reviews and then like Onion article and he's like, oh yeah, we got one positive review.
From the Onion. Have you ever read the review too?
Huh?
You should like if you watch it, you should pause it and read the review. Like it's so funny.
Really? Okay.
It's so funny. But yeah. But yeah, it's a great film. And the last thing I watched was I mentioned to Adam before the show started before we started filming, but I watched all of Barry again, or all that's been released so far of Barry. And it's kind of like the first season's really great, but the second season, especially when it hits like the middle of it, is perfect. It's like it's so perfect. So like you guys know what the show's about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just say it because I feel like I know, but
Okay.
But what's the premise?
The premise is a hitman. He's a former Marine, but he gets discharged, and then he comes back to the United States, and he like starts being hitman. The show picks up where he like goes to LA to perform a hit, but he like one of the people the person he has to kill is in like an acting class, and so but like when he gets there, he becomes like in love with acting, and he wants to become an actor. So the entire series is really just him kind of trying to like balance his hitman life with him trying to become an actor. But like it kind of devolves into this thing where he's kind of like he wants to become a better person, but he's like this person who kills people for money. And it becomes this really thoughtful meditation on like morality and like accountability and how you can blame others for like what you want to do, but like the cycle of violence, no matter what, once you kill, there's always like another kind of step you have to take or whatever. And it like goes back to one of those things. It goes back to a lot of like there's a lot of like Shakespearean stuff in it too, where it's like kind of it takes a lot of like roots in tragedy and like how how certain characters can like you can reveal information to them, but like they can't, and they'll like react to it, but they will react to it not knowing something that the character did to them, and like it's kind of brilliant. Like it's such a well written show, and there's one episode in the second season too where it's like it's so great, and it's a very like I mentioned it to I think either Landon or Adam, like you guys should just watch it because like it's you can watch it like with no context and it's still like incredible, and it's so artfully made and it's so funny. But yeah, I watched Barry again, and it's such a great show. And Bill Hader's like so good in it. But, yeah.
I watched some of it in fall 2018 before the Emmys. It's pretty great. I just need to get around to restarting it and watching the full thing.
Where'd you get to, Adam?
Midway through season 1, I think. It was before, I think, episode 8, which I kept hearing is like one of the best episodes, is like the best episode of the series. So,
yeah. Wait, of the series?
Or at least of season 1. I kept hearing episode 8 was like a masterpiece. So
yeah, it's like the ends of both seasons are all kind of perfect. Because like they all like both seasons start kind of a little bit rough. They're still good, but they start a little rough. But like once it hits the middle point, they start hitting. They start getting really, really, really great.
Yeah, I need to restart it.
Yeah, or just watch like the Ronnie Lily episode in the second season, and like then you'll see like, oh man, this is like such an incredible show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, Landon.
I didn't watch anything. I don't have a cool PowerPoint. But
Brandon, what did we watch?
Oh wait, no. Adam.
Oh, you said you didn't watch anything.
Shut up, Adam.
Adam.
Yeah, I didn't really watch anything I haven't watched before. I rewatched Fleabag.
Yes.
I started watching Daria. I've watched a lot of TV is really what it boils down to.
Question, Landon. How do you feel about the first episode of Fleabag?
The first episode in season 1?
Yeah. Because I feel like it's kind of a little.
With you before, I don't think season 1 is perfect. I think are issues with season 1. The first episode.
Because I watched it like again a few days ago, like a week ago or two, and like I found like the first episode kind of not very good, but like
it's jarring. It's very jarring.
I think the end of season 1 is like what saves it, or at least like the end of that first episode is what got me hooked.
I think the last 2 episodes of season 1 are perfect, but then like the whole like Sexhibition episode, like the final episode of season 1, where she goes to her stepmom's or her who will become her stepmom's Sexhibition. Like that episode's actually great, and like the meeting that she has with her dad outside, and they like start to talk, and like he tells her about like her mother and like how all of her flaws are like the same ones her mother had, but are they actually flaws kind of thing. Like that's great. But see, the whole problem with the first episode, I think, is they use the narration at an excessive amount, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like looking at the camera, they use it a lot in the first episode, like a lot. And then it becomes more sparing, and then when it happens throughout the rest of like the series, you're like, oh, you get excited every time it happens. You're like, ooh. And then like I just think it's weird to like open up the first episode with her getting fucked in the ass.
I mean, it's not
I thought it worked, but I think like, what you mentioned with the narration, it like kind of is jarring, and they use it as like more of a crutch to like to be funny, which I feel like a lot of the jokes don't really land. Like, there's so many jokes in it, and a lot of them don't really land at the way I think they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, her getting fucked in the ass, like I mean, it's not like I don't think it's like out of the. I don't think it's terrible.
Like I don't know. I just feel like during that scene, she's also like her narration is expository.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is weird. Like why? Like,
but it's also kind of her character almost. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like it's like kind of like a part of it where it's like only she would be like in that situation and would still be trying to like get a like unknown third party on her side about something. Like only she would be in that situation to be trying to like rationalize it with herself.
Yeah.
You know, of like going through the events in her head. I don't know. I feel like it works more than it doesn't for me, at least personally.
Mm-hmm.
But then the first episode of season 2 is incredible.
Season 2, the first episode of season 2 is one of the best episodes of television in general, in my opinion. I think the way that they execute that episode and everything that happens in that episode is just so well done.
The timing is impeccable.
Fast pace, huh?
Just what you're about to say. The timing is impeccable. Like,
yeah,
the pace is
like
so
there's a cut in the first episode of season 2 where it's the stepmom. She's talking about the priest's life, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I heard your mom is a lesbian," and then it cuts to Fleabag outside smoking a cigarette because it was about to just be some left field shit that the stepmom says, and it's just like, "Oh, thank God that we didn't have to sit through that kind of thing," and like I just think the comedy within the first episode of season 2 and the season 2 in general is just so fast paced, so quick, so funny. Everything about season 2 is hilarious. Everything about season 2 is heartbreaking. Everything about season 2 is melancholy at the same time, if you know what I mean. It's season 2, I think, is a lot sadder than season 1, which is hard because season 1 has a very impactful ending. But I think just the execution of season 2 is some of the best TV out there. And I'll stand by it.
And the thing I admire the most about the show is that like it's done, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like there's such a low chance of there ever being like a Fleabag 3 or like something, and I admire that so much.
I don't know, like in like 20 years, I'd like to see a 3-bag. Like,
No, yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, but like, wait. So are you completely? What about like in 10 years? How about that?
Well, no. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I think of Fleabag like, there was something. Oh my God, what am I thinking of? There was like something where where like basically the idea of it was they would catch up. What am I thinking of? The first thing that pops in the head is probably the wrong thing, but I'm just gonna say it. When they interviewed John Cameron Mitchell about Hedwig and the Angry Inch. They interviewed him like a couple of years ago. It's been 10 years since the movie came out. And he said he would want to do a version of the show now, like a sequel, just catching up with the character after the end of the story. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be like something like that would be cool for Fleabag, where it's like 20 years later, and it's just like what's happened since the end of season 2.
Maybe like a film.
Sorry?
Maybe like a film.
Yeah, maybe. I just think like
the episodes are so quick. You could make a 2-hour film and get the same kind of thing that you would get out of an entire season.
Yeah. They're like Lana said. They're very, very quick. They're very fast paced, and like I feel like you get not only like 2 hours, but like an hour and a half, honestly, and get just as much as you would out of like a 10-episode season, like 8 episodes.
You guys are right. Yeah.
Yeah. Fleabag, perfect. Season 2 is perfect. Season 1 is like a 4, maybe 3.5 on Letterboxd. Like I said, not bad, but you can definitely see that Phoebe Waller-Bridge perfected the formula in season 2, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then I started watching Daria.
We can't see it.
Watching it on and off because.
Shit.
Turn on your brightness.
Oh, hold on, wait.
So you're watching Daria.
This is 3-bag. That's the logo. No, Phoebe, I'm telling you, hire me. I can design the logo for Fleabag season 3. It's just 3, and then a bag.
It's just 3 bags in a row, and it says
3
like
bags.
summer 2030.
Exactly, 3 bags filled with fleas.
All right, so now that I have Brandon muted,
Oh my God.
I started watching Daria, and Daria, I haven't been like watching it. I just kind of started. My roommate Samantha started watching it, and I've been like coming in and out of it. But it's really, really funny. It's really, really funny. It's like an MTV show, an animated MTV show from the 90s. Animation isn't great. It's very kind of like dry, but like the entire show is dry, and it's meant to be dry, and it's like that dry, quick, witty humor. It just gets to me. It gets to me so, it's just so good. And like all of like the like voice actors and everything, I think there's like 3 voice actors, and they do like the voices for like everybody in the show basically.
I kind of love that.
And it's just such a little charming gem. I think there's 5 seasons, and it's just so great. And Daria is such a great character. I'm excited to watch more.
Have you seen the short film, like not short film, but the video with Aubrey Plaza as Daria?
Oh my god.
She would make a great Daria.
It's really good. Like she's really fun. It's like she's the perfect Daria. Like it's really, really fun.
Yeah, I think it's a lot smarter than a lot of adult animated cartoons nowadays, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A lot of them today are just kind of gross out humor and gags and be like, "Oh, sex," like kind of thing. But Daria is very smart about its humor. Very, very smart.
Like Family Guy.
Huh?
Like Family Guy.
Family Guy? No. No.
Rick and Morty?
It's more like the Cleveland Show.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
American Dad?
Huh?
No,
American Dad?
Family Guy's kind of bad. You know what's good? American Dad.
Yeah, American Dad. Hell
American Dad's not good. The Cleveland Show, on the other hand, takes place in Virginia. Did you know that?
That's
Richmond?
true.
Huh?
It's placed in Richmond, right?
Does it?
No. It's in Virginia, but it's not in it's not in Richmond.
What, the Cleveland Show? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is in Virginia.
It's not in like a specific town though. Like kind of like how the town in Family Guy isn't a real town.
Cleveland Show takes place in Powhatan, Virginia.
I wouldn't be surprised if it took place there or like Rustburg. Like I would not be surprised. That was the inspiration.
But yeah, that's basically all I watched. Did I play anything? What have I been listening to?
Oh, no, yeah, it takes place in Richmond.
Does it
Does it
actually?
actually?
Yeah, because
Really?
like in 2009, like the creator did a interview with Style Weekly, and they said with the new Family Guy spinoff, Mike Henry's childhood holds inextricable ties to an idyllic Richmond.
That's right. He's from Virginia. Yeah.
The creator's from Virginia.
God.
Yeah, Richmond.
Interesting.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, so I've been listening to, like last week, we don't have the recording. Last week I talked about Car Seat Headrest's new album. Don't love it. My prediction of Anthony Fantano giving it a 3 did not come true. He actually gave it a 5, which is where I'm more aligned, around like the 5. There's interesting ideas, and I'm excited. I want them to continue with this style because I think they can perfect the style. I just think there's a lot of growing pains that are occurring right now. It's like a indie electronic hip hop fusion thing. But yeah, and because of that, I've started to listen to like a lot of our Will Toledo's old records, like when he used to record his music by himself in like 2010, 2011. I've been listening to a lot of his old records, and I think his old records are just some of the best storytelling I've heard in music, and like for any artist when it comes to anything. It's just so like vivid but surreal at the same time. Everything that he says, like it's like David, like his old music feels like a David Lynch screenplay, if you know what I mean. And I think a lot of you guys would like his older music. Like the sound mixing and things like that is off because he did it all on GarageBand. But
Wow.
the instrumentation is still incredible. And the lyricism behind a lot of his songs are great. like I recommend. There's a song called what's it called? It's called Souls. And he wrote it when he was 16 years old, and it's such a great use of storytelling. But yeah, that's basically what I've been listening to.
So question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do you think is better? Carson Headrest's new album or Anthony Fantano's review of Fetch the Bolt Cutters?
Probably Car Seat Headrest, new album.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was the artist you were mentioning real quick, Landon? I didn't catch.
Car Seat Headrest?
The dude that did all the stuff on GarageBand and...
Car Seat Headrest.
Okay.
He grew up here in Virginia.
Okay.
And there's a lot, like, I think that's why I connect with it, because a lot of the things that he talks about are site-specific things of Richmond, of Williamsburg, of areas here in Virginia. And I think you guys should give it a try. I'd recommend How to Leave Town. It's a great record. It's a good album for like people that like just graduated college kind of thing, because it is about like growing up and like facing adulthood head on. But yeah. So
Landon, the band's name for everyone again?
Cosseed Headwest.
See, you saying he threw me because it's a band. So.
All right, but so car seats, right? Car seat headrests.
Yeah, car seat headrest.
The headrest.
Adam, to answer your question, Car Seat Headrest started as a solo outing by Will Toledo.
Okay, so it was solo at first. Okay.
It was solo and they got the band because his parents wouldn't let him record any of his music in the house because it was too loud. So he would drive to an empty parking lot and record his music in a car. And that's how he got the name for the band.
Okay.
And once he graduated from William and Mary, he went to Seattle and he formed a band. And in 2016, he released his first studio album called Isle, which is pretty good.
So car seats, what are they made out of?
Cars.
What are they made out
of? Depends. If we're talking Lightning McQueen, it would be flesh. What do you think they're made out of, Brandon?
I think they're made out of fabric.
You know what else is made out of fabric?
Muppets! Oh, yeah.
We got there. We did it.
Best segue so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
West Coast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Car seat headrest, Muppets. Right, it's a record for time for transitions.
Yeah, for the Feebles.
All right. So I recommended last week James Bobbins' The Muppets. It's 2011, starring Jason Segel, Amy Adams, Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Animal, and it's about Jason Segel and
don't forget Fozzie.
Oh, Fozzie, yeah.
Walter.
And I was going to mention Walter, Sam. Yeah, I was going to mention. It's Jason Segel and his best friend Walter, a Muppet, but like an adjacent Muppet.
Aren't they brothers?
They're brothers.
Yeah.
Jeez, did you even watch this movie, Brandon?
Yeah, I promise. So basically, it's them, and with Amy Adams as Jason Segel's girlfriend, and they go to Hollywood to like visit Muppets and everything. And in the museum, basically the old Muppet studio is torn down by a capitalist billionaire played by Chris Cooper. So they go on an adventure trying to get all the Muppets back together to stage a show to get all the money to buy back the land for the Muppet Studios and stop them being torn down. So that's the Muppets. That's the plot of the Muppets. What do you guys think about the Muppets 2011, directed by James Bob and starring Jason Segel, Kermit the Frog, Chris Cooper, and Amy Adams?
Before we get into it, I have a question for you, Brandon.
Okay.
Why did you recommend this movie?
So I feel like, because all right, so I think that because you mentioned there's a link between the Muppets and Talking Heads, and I did not connect in the way you did. I was like, oh wow, I never saw the video before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But I just found it very interesting because like we were on this kick of like musical films and everything, and I found a lot of links between David Byrne and Kermit the Frog. I think they're very similar people.
Can you expound on that?
No.
I mean, I kind of see it. I don't know. Like, what are you saying?
They're very, very
Very lanky.
Huh?
They're very lanky.
They're very lanky, very awkward. They have like a commitment to like performing for their audience. And they don't have like I think the thing that like separates them more than anything is like Kermit actually has a love. I mean, I think David Byrne loves his fans, loves his audience, but Kermit like he makes them his family. And something I found very interesting too, because I don't think David Byrne does a lot of like press, right? Oh wow, that's crazy. Hold on.
Get that back, please.
I get that back.
Please.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, never mind. I can't do it. So yeah, I think that because David Byrne is like pretty reclusive, right?
I think relatively, yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Something I found really interesting is like in the beginning of the film, Kermit's living in like this really like desolate mansion in the Hollywood Hills, and he's like this hermit, Kermit the Hermit.
What's her face from Sunset Boulevard?
Yeah, like
Ready for my close-up. Whoever her name is.
Gloria Steinem.
Yes, I think you're right.
Gloria Steinem is the feminist who exposed Playboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's
the same thing.
But yeah, whatever her name is, I don't know. But he's like living in this very like reclusive mansion. It's very like against Kermit, like character of Kermit the Frog. But yeah, that's why I recommended the Muppets, Landon.
Okay. The movie sucked. I'm just joking.
It hurt him so much to say it. His body's rejecting.
I love the Muppets.
Yeah. What do you love about it?
Yeah, I think I have like a very like fond memory of the Muppet Wheelhouse. Because I kind of like, I wouldn't say I grew up on the Muppets, but my family definitely had a fascination with the Muppets. My dad owned like the DVD box set of all of the Muppet shows. And I remember there was like, we used to have Friday movie night, and there was a point for like 2 months where we would just watch the Muppet Show every Friday. Instead of watching a movie, you'd just be like, all right, guys, we're going to watch like 5 episodes of the Muppets. Get ready.
Strap in.
It's a really like fun, interesting show. It's kind of like the kids' answer to Saturday Night Live, if you know what I mean. And it very much is. It's very much more. I think it's smarter than a lot of old Saturday Night Live sketches.
It's definitely smarter than a lot of than all of the new Saturday Night Live sketches.
Yeah, it definitely is better than a lot of the new Saturday Night Live sketches. But yeah, I grew up on the Muppets. The Muppets in Space is like, I used to watch that movie constantly. And then when this movie came out, like we saw it in theaters like day one, and it's just a joy. It's just so joyous and just so fun. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it, Sam. There's nothing wrong with it.
Adam.
You sadist. But yeah, I think what the Muppets, like watching it when it first came out, I feel like I didn't pick up on a lot of the humor that I understand now. Not saying that the humor is adult oriented, but the humor is more of this kind of meta commentary on the film in general and just filmmaking in general kind of thing. Like I love the bit where they travel by map. I think it's hilarious. Like they have like the whole Deus Ex Machina. They have the whole like Deus Ex Machina moment near the end where they show up. Amy Adams and Jason Segel show up just to fix the power, and they're like, "How'd you guys get here so quick from small town?" And they were like, "We traveled by map. We thought it would be much quicker." And I just love how they play on those kind of like elements and use the humor of the Muppets to heighten that to an extent. And also the cameos throughout the entire movie are so well done. Jack Black is great in the movie. And then Zach Galifianakis as Hobo Joe. Don't forget about Hobo Joe.
Yeah.
Everybody always forgets about Hobo Joe, but I'm not forgetting about Hobo Joe today.
I respect Hobo Joe.
He's in the movie for like 2 minutes, but he's great.
You know who else is in the movie for 2 minutes?
Huh?
You know who else is in the movie for 2 minutes?
Donald Glover.
Selena Gomez.
That's true.
And she's not
Yeah,
looking
that's something I was wondering about while watching it. They show up to the telethon and they're like, "Hey, like our agents told us to be here." And then the
Really?
use them in the stage play, or like in the telethon whatsoever.
No,
Well,
but also it's like, you know, their agents told them to show up there.
Huh?
Also, because you know their agents told them to show up there too. And like,
Yeah.
it's like so clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love the movie so
Are you a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Is that what
Yeah.
says?
Rico Rodriguez.
Rico Rodriguez says to Kermit the Frog. But yeah, also the music in the movie, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like the opening musical number is fantastic. It's better than anything in La La Land, and I'll stick by it. Challenge me. I dare you, Adam. I'll destroy you.
I'm not going to challenge you.
I have facts and
La La Land
reasons.
is better.
I have facts, reasons, and logic.
Ben Shapiro is creaming his jeans.
Hypothetically, what?
Ben Shapiro is creaming his jeans. I said Ben Shapiro is creaming his jeans.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right, my dad is a Muppet. Okay, he went to Muppet school. All right.
So hypothetically, if we were speaking, Adam,
My wife is a Muppet, okay? She went to Muppet school. She studied to be a Muppet. She knows all about Muppet culture. All
There
right?
are 3 tenets to Muppet, okay? There's 3 things, all right? You got to have felt, humor. I can't tell. I'm done. Okay, I'm done.
But there's that one moment in the opening, like dancing number, where they're like, where they're rhyming words, and then they're like, "Life's like a fillet of fish," and they're like,
Sure.
And that's like the first time like I laughed out loud in the movie kind of thing. And it's just, there's so many like small moments like that in that opening number, like when Amy Adams starts singing and it's like her like imagining Jason Segel like riding up on a horse and then like sliding with the ring in his hand, and the way that she like runs her last note in the song, the way that she runs it, it's just so well done. And like,
Mary, will you marry me?
Yeah, that whole thing. And then it's the guy spraying the water on the side to make it look more like moody kind of thing. It's you can tell that so much thought and care went into the movie. If you know what I keep saying, if you know what I mean. I need to stop saying that. But you can tell there's a lot of thought and care put into the movie. And I think it pays off tremendously because it's a joy. It's a joy. All right, Sam. Ruin all my
movie is garbage. No. So one thing I will say is I loved the movie when it first came out, kind of like with you, Landon. I saw it opening weekend, thought it was great. And the more times I've watched it over the years, the less I have enjoyed it. And this was the first time I had seen it in maybe 5 or 6 years. It had been a while since I last watched The Muppets. And watching it again, I think I like it more than I initially thought I did. And honestly, just us talking about it makes me appreciate it more and more. But I keep thinking back to how there's just something about the film that doesn't always rub me the right way. I don't know. Just something always feels off about it, for me at least. Because I think you're right, Landon. There is that passion. There is that genuineness about it. Like, clearly everyone working on this movie loves the Muppets, wants to make a great tribute to the characters, to the property, to everything. You can feel that. But I don't know if it fully works all the time. And sometimes to me, it feels like they're trying too hard. But I think there's a benefit where it has like a Zucker Brothers style of humor, like Airplane or Top Secret, where there's, or even Mel Brooks, like, Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein, where there's just jokes happening every second. So even if a joke doesn't land, there's going to be like, you're almost guaranteed the next joke will, like, there's some jokes in the opening number that weren't that funny to me. Like, you think the thing with the rain is like funny. And like, to me, it's like, oh, whatever. Like, it doesn't really impress me. But then the fillet of fish thing is great. Like that is such a great line and a great moment and a great like beat, with a great, like they like it's almost like it isn't part of the song, right? But they play it so well. Right. And so for me, it's just like, I don't know. I watch it and I'm not overly impressed. I don't think it's doing anything crazy or new or innovative, but it is, like you're saying, it's just nice. It's just like fun and entertaining. It flies by, it just goes through. And I think that it is just a well-made movie. The songs are great. I cannot deny that. The songs are great. And I think anything involving the Muppets is just like super well done. Anything involving the actual Muppets and their dilemmas and their characters is great. The whole drama of Kermit and Miss Piggy, I think, is really well done. Like, I know it kind of sounds like a joke, but like it really is really good and like engaging, like interesting. But I think sometimes, like, I didn't like the scene of Selena Gomez and the other kid showing up. Like, I don't know. Are you a Ninja Turtle? Like, shut up. All right, I don't care. Like, it just feels like kind of forced. I don't know. Just like, all right, I don't need you here. But then when the Muppets are performing on stage, like with Jack Black, it's really funny. Or they're just having their own antics in the background or whatever. Like, those are really good. And then get to the main plot of like Walter and Jason Segel and Amy Adams, and I don't care as much. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Some of it just feels like it's overall well done, but there is definitely a part of me that feels like Jason Segel made this movie just so he could put himself in the Muppets. Like, he's Walter, Like, he just wanted
in the Muppets.
Sorry?
He wants to put himself inside the Muppets.
Exactly. You got it. You heard me right. You heard it here first, folks.
Jason
exposing Jason
what's the
fetish.
fuck a Muppet?
He watched me
Inside
and then finally.
I mean, like, tell me though, like that Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet doesn't slap, Sam. Tell me it doesn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. The music is great.
Mhm.
I just don't care that much about their conflict. Like, I'm not attached to it emotionally, right? Like, I don't really, like, I don't know. I don't care about Walter. I don't care about Jason Segel. Like, they're fine, I guess. They exist to be there to move the story forward. But I just can't help but feeling it's like Jason Segel being like, here's a really cool, nice guy, and here's his cool brother, and his cool brother, he's gonna be in the Muppets because he's just so talented and nice and cool.
I don't think they're trying to make themselves look cool or make himself look cool. I think the way that Jason Segel plays the character and the way the character is written, that they both Walter and Jason Segel's character are just man children. I know I talked about how I hate man children, but I think it works well with the Muppets. Like, they're like man children, and they're just
it's very endearing. Like, it's so endearing, and it's so charming, and like it. I mean, it's interesting because, like, Sam, you said it's like it feels like they're trying too hard, but like
sometimes
at points in the film, like, I feel like it's so effortless. Honestly, like they're skating by on their charm, And it works at so many points because of the Muppets. Like, I agree with you. The weaker stuff in the film has to do with the humans, I feel like, and like Jason Segel and Amy Adams. But more so Jason Segel, because I feel like Amy Adams is so good in the film. Like, I think she's so great.
I was gonna say that. Like, Amy Adams is so great. I would argue, all right, okay, Man or Muppet is a great ballad. You know, it's very emotional. I'm with it. Me Party, come on.
Me Party's phenomenal.
Come on. Don't tell me you're in your room by yourself doing those disco moves, all right? A true
He puts the bread on the forks and starts making the forks dance.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
The Chris Cooper rap dance. Wait, how's it go?
I forget how it goes. But that's the most Flight of the Conchord song.
Oh yeah.
The entire thing.
I want to see Chris Cooper do that in Little Women.
Honestly, it would have been so good. Like him and Liza Scanlers at the piano. He's like, all right, let me show you how to.
Let me show you this.
He's like, I'm Texas, Richmond. Like, and he's like, yeah.
I want to see him do the rap as he's walking through Ben Affleck's bullet-ridden house at the end of Live by Night, and everyone's
Okay,
dancing.
Oh, yeah, that movie. Oh, yeah.
He's in
My
it.
favorite movie.
Live by Night. I think he may be the first person, honestly, in the history of like podcasting to like reference Live by Night and like in reference to the Muppets or anything.
I remember being so excited for that movie, and then I was just kind of disappointed. It was fine.
I was excited, and then no one liked it. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Okay, so as background, I didn't grow up on the Muppets, and conversely to you, Wayne, and like I never really got around to watching them at all, really. Like I knew them through more or less cultural osmosis, I guess is the best word for it. Just I knew who Kermit was, I knew who Animal was, and Miss Piggy, and so on. But I was interested to see what I would think of the movie, and I think Sam and I gave it the same rating on Letterboxd, but I really enjoyed it. There's never a dull moment. You're never bored. The songs are all good. I think Me Party and Man, Am I a Man or a Muppet are probably the best two. Chris Cooper rapping was something I never thought I'd see, but was fun. But I think I'd jump on board with Sam a little bit, kind of like with the opening scene. I think that's the best example. Like the rain on the window didn't really land, but the fillet of fish did. It's kind of like back and forth. Like things were funny consistently, but it wasn't. I think the time I laughed the loudest was my background, where Fozzie Bear has these things he calls fart shoes, and it's kind of funny on first execution, but then when they've lost the theater and they're all sad and they're leaving, it's all quiet, and then you just hear the fart shoes just going up the aisle. It's the funniest thing. Might be my favorite gag in the movie. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. It's just there's something missing, and I don't know what it is.
Landon, do you cry at pictures in my head?
Yes. No, I don't actually cry, but I think that song's like actually kind of moving.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so moving. Like I cried. Like I felt something. Well, I didn't cry this time, but I cried like multiple times before like watching the film.
Yeah, I think that moment is a really good moment of just the movie kind of giving respect to the legacy of the Muppets, just in general. And I think that scene really kind of epitomizes that, if you know what I mean.
But I mean, I don't think the film is just about like, oh, acknowledging the past.
No, I don't think that either. I just think that scene specifically is respecting the legacy of the Muppet.
Yeah, I know, I get you, but like, and like kind of referencing what Sam and Adam say, I feel like there's a lot of stuff like the Muppets. It like has to say, like, it has a lot to say, like you said about filmmaking, Landon, but also about like, how like the past plays an important role in your future, and how no matter what, like the past always will have a special place in your heart, and like how it kind of influences what you do from that point on. And I think it has a lot of really especially like at a point like Pictures in My Head, it's kind of profound in a lot of ways, honestly. Like I know it's kind of like it might not seem like it, but like there's a lot of like kind of really moving stuff the film like says, and a lot of like with Man and a Muppet, kind of leaving it like I don't know, like kind of moving on and growing up. Like it's really beautiful at a lot of points. I feel like.
And Muppet of a Man.
Yeah.
And I guess one thing.
Muppet of a Man.
One thing I want to say is like, I in no way think that this is a bad movie or is not worth watching or, you know, I think it is a really, really good movie. Like, I'll probably watch it again at some point. I will happily watch it again. I just think, like, to me, it's very clear that this movie, I'm afraid this is going to come off in a negative way, but I want to try and make an argument as to why it's not a bad thing. I think the movie plays really well into nostalgia for the Muppets, but mostly respects it and mostly like understands what made them special. And I think it is like nice that it does have what Brandon's just talking about, the storyline of like growing up and like getting over that, but like without losing your love and reverence for things in the past and how it affects you, right? And I think I made a comparison after we watched it, which I've kind of rethought, like to The Force Awakens, where like The Force Awakens was the Star Wars movie we needed when it came out. That doesn't make it a good movie, and it really doesn't hold up. And I think The Muppets is like how that should have gone. Like The Muppets is like, hey, you haven't seen these characters in a movie at that point in 10 years. You know, like it had been a long time. Let's bring you back in, but doing something new with it, right? Having pictures in my head, having, you know, bringing in Walter, even though I'm not crazy about him, it is nice to actually like bring in a new character who like is a fan of the Muppets and can live this dream. You know, I think it goes about the nostalgia play in a much smarter way, but without detracting from the quality of the movie. I just, in general, the movie I don't think is 100% for me. I think part of that is not growing up with these characters, not having that connection to them. So, but I don't think that makes it a bad movie. I think it makes it not for me entirely. You know?
Yeah, I'd agree. And like, I think one of the things that landed for me, we talked about a little bit, was just kind of the number of cameos that were in it. Just like seeing all these people, and like Zach Galifianakis with probably the funniest cameo in the movie as Hobo Joe. But it was kind of weird too, just kind of a weird couple of days, because I talked about earlier, I watched School of Rock the night before, and both Jack Black and Sarah Silverman are in that, and then they were in this, and then Amy Adams was in this, and then she was in Talladega Nights, which I watched the day after. It was, I don't know, it seemed to fit really well. It just seemed to flow over those few days, but there was a lot of cameos I'm forgetting, but I think that's the part that really landed for me. It was just a lot of fun, and Jack Black not playing a cameo, just playing himself, I thought was a nice little touch too.
Yeah. You guys are talking about nostalgia a lot, and like when I think of nostalgia, I think of
Critic.
Huh?
Critic.
Shut up. No. I think of the idea of just them showing certain things to make you go, "Oh, I remember that." But I don't think there's any moment in the Muppets except for the like end credit scene or the end credits where they directly reference something from the show or an old Muppets movie. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of their jokes and a lot of the things that they do are new.
There are two specific scenes in which they reference old things, Landon. All right? I'm going to school you on a movie you love, all right? No,
Right.
It's like when I think about nostalgic, I think about the joke where they're like, how are we going to find everybody? They're like, didn't you see our first movie? Road trip, right? And then they played the Rainbow Connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to argue is like, it is playing on nostalgia, but it's doing it very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like playing like, didn't you see your first movie? Blah blah. Like it's kind of a funny joke, and it is actually like acknowledging how this part of the movie is going to be similar to the original movie, which is playing on nostalgia, but they are adding something new by like doing a shortened version of the road trip, right? And then
80s robot.
Yeah, 80s robot, bringing in these new things. I mean, 80s robot is also kind of like a joke on nostalgia, right? Like that's also kind of what that is. But then Rainbow Connection's great because like if you're gonna have a telethon about the Muppets, right? Like of course you're gonna play the Rainbow Connection. Like it just makes sense.
It services the plot really well.
Yeah, no, it fits perfectly, right? Like they play on your nostalgia, but they use it at the perfect moment, you know? And that's what I'm trying to say is that like it does what The Force Awakens didn't do. The Force Awakens is like, hey, you know Thing? There's Thing. You remember New Hope? It's a New Hope again. And you're like, wow.
It's not the same, but it's different.
Yeah, you're like, it's a bigger Death Star. You just clap your hands. You're like, wow. And
It's called Star Killer now.
Yeah, exactly. And then
That's
the Muppets
cool.
is like, hey, let's, take this thing and put it into something new. And while it may not always work for me and doesn't hit me as hard as most people who grew up with the Muppets, it's still really well done. And I think it's something I admire overall. I had another point to make and I forgot it. But, one thing I didn't like the chicken singing.
I did like a lot of the visual gags. Like the one that stuck with me was like Chris Cooper with like the 15 cans of Red Bull all around him. And then kind of the unintentional future gag, I guess, because they were promoting Cars 2 at the time and the posters everywhere. And so that's just funny in retrospect.
Okay, but Cars 2 came out before the Muppets.
But they were filming it when Cars 2 was having promotion. Tommy?
But yeah, I thought Cars 2 was 2013.
No.
Nah, dude.
Oh my God. Okay, but still.
You're a phony.
Say you're a NASCAR fan. You know the part of NASCAR culture. NASCAR.
We've disowned we've disowned Cars 2.
You're a NASCAR fan? When did every Cars movie come out?
I will say I did.
Cars character in alphabetical order.
I did enjoy
the number.
I did enjoy the kind of the blend of nostalgia and like I guess the real world is the best way to put it. Like when you start out, Jason Segel and Amy Adams are living in like a very 50s, 60s kind of era looking environment, and then they get in LA and they're just driving like a modern day car. I don't know why, but I just really like that blend.
Definitely. Well, Landon and Brandon, do you have anything else to add in terms of defending this terrible movie?
I like the bowling ball gag.
Oh yeah.
And there's that scene where it cuts to to show his reaction, and he still has the bowling ball going around his arm, and it pays off in like the end credits where he hits the guy in the stomach with it.
I think Animal is I think Animal's probably the funniest Muppet, and I think I think he's used in this one because it would have been so easy to overuse Animal, but like they put him in at the perfect amount, and like I think he's just like, come on, like is he? Do you think he's who's the funniest Muppet to you, Landon? Like, what's your favorite?
The funniest Muppet to me is Grover.
Grover.
I think that's his name, right? Grover, the guy.
The blue one.
Yeah. That's my favorite Muppet just because of Muppets in Space, and that's his movie basically. And I also like the shrimp. The shrimp isn't used that much in this movie. He's
used, but when he's used, it works so well. Yeah. But like Animal is like so funny. Like when he's just waiting outside of Jack Black's trailer, and he's just like, he's like, Animal, what's wrong?
I'd agree. I think he's the funniest in the movie for me too.
But yeah, Animal rights.
Animal rights.
Yeah.
I actually love the whole introduction of Grover's backstory about the toilets. And he's like, what does he say to the guy who's like, buy 227 sticky putty or something like that? He's like, buy 227 cases of sticky putty and then sell it back to him. Okay. But yeah.
I think who my favorite Muppet is. I don't know. might be Miss Piggy. I just love the idea. Okay, this isn't a knock against the movie. This is something I just find funny. It's like, how are you gonna be the head of Vogue Paris and not have $1 million or $10 million?
Not have $10 million.
How you gonna be the head of Vogue Paris? I just love that though. I love that idea of like, where does Miss Piggy go after however many years of not being in the Muppets? She just runs Vogue. Oh, all right, yeah, no, that makes sense. I love it.
Also, I love how like at the end of the film, like they think they have all the money, but then someone hits like the board and they haven't even gotten
Yes.
$99,000.
He's like, oh, it's better.
I feel like a funny gag that would have been like to put in the movie would have been for Hobo Joe to give the $5 that he got to the Muppets to get $3 million, and then the sign falls, and then it's like 100,000, and then he takes the $5 back. I think that would have been a funny gag to put in it. But
okay, so I don't want to end it on a bad note. Can I just complain about the end credits scene? I know I did this when we watched it, but
yeah,
it's just.
Oh yeah, I thought you were gonna bring that up at some point.
So the ending to the Muppets, the final message is great. It's super heartwarming. It's a great lesson. You don't always win, but people will always be there for you. It's not about the theater. It's about the people you touched along the way. All right, I can get behind that. Whatever. And then as like a last minute thing, because I don't fucking know, they have to retcon the entire thing. They have to literally be like, hey, remember the bowling ball? Oh, it hit his head. Now he's dumb and signed it away. It's like, come on, man. Come on. I don't know. Like, you almost had a really impactful ending. Like, I got the lesson. I'm like thinking, man, this movie's really smart. It made a really good. No, you get hit in the head. Ooh, he signed it away. And it's like, oh. All right.
I kind of agree with that. I think we mentioned like, kind of sounded like something a studio executive was like, hey, we need to make this have a happy ending for the kiddies. And
kitties.
Yeah.
No cats watch the Muppets.
They would eat the Muppets.
They would eat them, Adam.
They would tear them apart.
Charlie's like, I don't watch. Who are the Muppets? Like,
Who are the?
Yam Yam's like, who are the Muppets? Like,
the Muppets?
Muppets.
The Muppets. The Muppets.
I'm here with my crew. Well, I mean,
what are your thoughts on the Muppets? Did you think that was funny?
Yeah. Oh,
I thought so.
I think it's kind of stupid, but I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Well, I love the dedication to it, where everyone has like a Muppet name.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favorite part. They just totally commit to the bit.
But yeah, that's the Muppets. Thank you guys for watching it. I appreciate you guys, enjoying it and watching it. Everything. Thank you for giving me a chance.
Thank you for showing it.
Yeah.
I would give it 5 stars on Letterboxd.
Give it 5 or 4.5, but nothing.
I give it poo-poo. No, I gave it 3.5. Might change it to 4. I gotta think about it, but I might change it to 4.
Yeah, I was debating between 3.5 and 4. I settled on 3.5 for now.
High chance of going to 4.
Brandon, you liar! You can't fool us. You have it at 4 on Letterboxd. I said, you liar! You can't fool us. You have it at a 4 on Letterboxd.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta change that.
Yeah. You son of a bitch!
Landon
I'm lying to our faces.
Landon hasn't even rated it yet.
I don't use Letterboxd anymore.
Letterboxd for chumps, bro.
Yeah, they've been tracking me. Letterboxd has been tracking me. And ever since then, I don't use it.
Brandon comes on next time like a tinfoil hat.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, thank you guys for that. Now we're going to move on to Mr. Samuel Goodrich. The last film you recommended was the fantastic Miss Hakusai.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you want to recommend to us this time. So,
well,
yeah.
I have a list.
Okay.
A decent sized list.
I think I know what's a film that's going to be on your list, Sam.
Well, it's the one I might say.
Hakusai 2.
Hakusai, Revenge.
Muppets Most Wanted.
2 Miss, 2 Hakusai.
2 Miss, 2 Hakusai. All right. I'm debating between one of my favorite movies of all time, again, or a YouTube documentary.
I win.
I'm trying to figure it out because it's like, well, because here's the thing, right? Do I want to complete? Do I want to complete the music theme, or do I want to pivot to something else? Is there a consensus
Music theme.
opinion?
Music theme.
We got one music theme. Brandon, Lynn, you have an opinion?
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever floats your boat.
All right, hold on. I saved images just in case. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Hold on. I'm going to get out of the way for this one. We're going to watch... Oh, it's backwards.
Woo!
We're going to
Yay.
watch All That Jazz. I have my copy right here.
I still haven't seen that.
Hold on, let me get my copy, Sam. Wait.
Please get your copy. All right. All That Jazz.
This movie either.
Is that movie All That Jazz?
It's that and a bag of chips. It's greater than sliced bread. It's the 1979 Bob Fosse film. He directed and wrote it and choreographed the dance scenes. Roy Scheider, if you say his name, is the main actor, playing basically Bob Fosse. It's not Bob Fosse, but it's Bob Fosse. And it's just, I describe it as Bob Fosse's therapy session. Like, it's Bob Fosse's therapy or musical therapy session, where it's just him talking about all the shit that bothers him for 2 hours and makes it kind of beautiful and like catchy and amazing. And it doesn't really pull any punches. Bob Fosse clearly knows what's wrong with him and like isn't afraid to like show him in a bad light. I think a great comparison is to Fellini's 8.5. There definitely is like an 8.5 inspiration, but rather than being like a movie about making a movie, it's a movie about Bob Fosse and everything he was dealing with at the time that he wrote the script and was making the movie. And it has incredible musical numbers. Roy Scheider is incredible. He is so good in this movie. Don't get me started. Amazing visuals. Jessica Lange's in it. It's like her second role ever. There it is.
All That Jazz.
The Criterion Collection edition of All That Jazz.
Hell yeah.
God, just everybody in the movie is so great. Yeah, I'm really excited to show this to you guys. I haven't watched it in about a year, so I'm excited to rewatch it again and really dive into it. And I hope you all enjoy it when we do watch it.
Masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece. I wrote earlier. We were talking. I don't know if it was, I forget this on the show. I wrote my I wrote my literary theory class. We had a paper, right, to analyze a movie. I wrote about All That Jazz and got a really good score.
What class is this, Sam?
This was Intro to Literary Theory, and we had to analyze a piece of art or like literature, music, book, whatever, from the perspective of one of the literary like areas of thought.
Okay.
And so I psychoanalyzed All That Jazz.
Interesting.
So we got into a lot of Freud.
Interesting.
It was really fun to write, and I almost turned into a video until I realized it was kind of dumb to turn into a video. I had to rewrite it, and then I didn't rewrite it. So, yeah. All That Jazz.
I'm
How
excited.
does All That Jazz connect to the Muppets?
Well, they both are emotional, self-reflective films about the personal issues of one person and how they're trying to better their lives.
Bob Fosse had an affair with Miss Piggy.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really would not be surprised.
And Walter is their child.
Is there like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but for like 6 degrees of Kermit the Frog?
Oh, there has to be. There has to be. With the amount of people he's been around, there has to be, dude.
Yeah, there is. There's a website.
Officially.
Type in Bob Fosse.
Well, okay, we're also going to see one of my favorite songs, which I can't say the title because it's kind of a spoiler. But the ending of the film is probably my favorite musical number in any film and my favorite ending to any film. It kind of perfectly encapsulates the entire film in like a 9-minute sequence, and it's gorgeous and beautiful and sad and happy and like melancholy. It's everything. It's great. Love it.
I'm
Great
excited.
suggestion, Sam.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. And if y'all don't like it, I'm just gonna leave the show. I'm out of here. Not actually.
I don't like jazz.
What is jazz?
You like jazz?
The movie does have erotica. It's like, oh! And we'll talk about that next week, what erotica is.
On next week's episode of Cinemania, the special erotica theme episode. That's going to be the theme for June for the films we choose. For
Erotica?
June. Erotica.
Nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
I want
Sodom, 120 Days of Sodom.
Yeah.
Adam, what's your erotic movie?
Can't think of one off the top of my head. I'll think of one.
Venom.
First two.
Knock, knock.
Oh, God.
John Wick Chapter 3.
A Simple Favor.
Black Snake Moan.
Oh, God.
So anyways, this has been this week's episode of Cinemania. I really enjoyed it. This was really fun. Thank you guys for contributing and everything.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, so I'm Brandon Schellingford, my co-host.
Adam Cheek.
Yeah.
Landon Roberts.
Adam Cheek.
Sam Goodrich.
All right. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. Have a great week, everyone. Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.